All right, guys. Update for July 11th on the muscle truck build. Not a lot of major stuff, just a lot of small things going on over the past few days. Honestly, my back and just muscles and stuff were really hurting from all the really laborious stuff that we did with the rear suspension and everything on 4th of July, and I just wanted a few days to recover. But as evidence of doing so much work in a short period of time and drinking beers and being kind of stupid mistakes get made. And in my case, and I feel really dumb about this, but I had installed the fuel cell backwards. The fuel cell obviously has a sump. I've never installed one before, and I had the sump facing forward where obviously it needs to be facing the back, so that under hard acceleration, if there's a little bit of fuel in the tank, it goes to the back and you don't get fuel starvation. Dumb mistake, I know, I did it, and I feel really stupid because I even bothered to notch out these rails here a little bit for the sender, which I obviously would not have needed to do if I had installed it correctly. I'm still waiting for a little vent that's going to show up, a little breather vent that's going to go on there. I did get the fuel line all connected. I put a little piece of angle iron down here. It's where I'm going to mount my plate and stuff and my tag light, just to kind of finish off the end of that frame rail. I don't know, I can't remember if I showed the fuel pump. The fuel pump is all in, locked in and wired in, and I'll probably replace those quick clamps with more like, ratchet style ones for permanency. I just wanted to get everything together and test fit and make sure everything was working before I went for broke with all the connectors. Still got to take those vice grips off there from adjusting that yesterday. But all the wires are routed. I got the fuel line routed up here. Now obviously I'm using a 3/8 line, which is a really big line, because when I do the LS swap, I'm going to want to feed it a lot of fuel for the higher horsepower and all that stuff. So this is E85 approved line, high pressure line in 3/8, and it was hard for me to find connectors for the 3/8, so I had to go to Home Depot and kind of do like a jumble of assortment of garbage up there to get it to go into this old ass Rochester Quadrajet. And then I got a filter over here, which I just have tied up to the air filter where I can slip it on and off to get the air filter off, just so I don't get fuel boil, keep it away from the headers and exhaust. But I did the glass port fuel filter there. Something I noticed on the Quadrajet, when I had the air filter cover off, there is no linkage between the vacuum port and the secondary butterfly. So this guy was basically, I guess, just running this thing as a 2-barrel for fuel economy, I guess. But that explains why it had no oomph, man. It's got no secondaries opened on it. When I was, linking all this crap up to the carburetor, that's when I noticed all this crap, because I hadn't really looked at the carburetor yet. I knew that it ran. I just wanted to get all the fuel ran. I got the old mechanical pump off and put my block off plate on. And yeah, so we did that, and of course I got the fuel sender unit. Now the only thing with this is I had a little gremlin going on, but that's because I realized the only thing I did wrong on hooking this up is that I ran this wire right here for switched power, for ignition power, and that's obviously not switched ignition. I thought it was, but it's not. But luckily I didn't cut any of the wire. I just bunched it up and put it right there. So now I can run it into the cab. I thought, for switched ignition anyways, but what I decided to do is I got a 10 bank fuse box, all-weather fuse box, which I'm going to mount right here, and I want to run switched ignition to that, so I have a port right here to run, horns off of and any other accessories I want to run in the engine compartment. That should be here in a few days, and then we'll do that. But for right now, I don't have to really worry about the 3-second priming deal, because it's already got fuel primed to it, as you can see, and it's not a big deal for me to just run it the way it is right now without it being on switched ignition. The truck did fire up yesterday, and as I thought, even with a crappy, clogged, shitty carburetor, it fired right off, because with the positive fuel pressure of the electric fuel pump, it really, in my opinion, it makes vehicles start up almost like they have fuel injection sometimes. I could go get like a cheapy Edelbrock 1406 carb to throw on here, which would be the same wide bore spread pattern and stuff as this, to get a new carb on here, but I really don't want to waste any money on this motor until I figure out the whole LS situation. I don't want to throw money into this motor. It's not worth it to me. I mean, it's a good motor, it's just not a performance motor. I don't want to throw money at it. So unless I can find a deal for like $100 or something on a really nice used carburetor, which I highly doubt around here, I can't really do anything with this at the moment except just drive it as like a 2-barrel, you know, nice and slow like a cruiser. And then I had some other financial issues come up that were unexpected with my daughter, which, you know, $500 now out of my pocket that could have gone into this, needed to go towards some room renovations and things at the house. So, but here it is, man. That's what I did the past few days. Hopefully in a few days, those lower control arms from CPP should show up. What happened was I noticed they hadn't shipped for a few days. I ordered a whole bunch of supporting stuff because I needed those lower control arms, and the one thing I really needed to get going didn't show up. And I'm like, what's the deal? So I call them, I go, hey man, did these things ship yet or what? And they go, yeah, you know, the silver ones are on back order. I go, okay, well, I didn't even really want silver. That's just the only thing you had an auction running for. He goes, well, we got black. You want black? I go, yeah, man, send the black on. Let's get this going. I prefer the blacks. He's like, okay. So he sent the black out a couple days ago now, and now I'm just waiting again for parts to show up. The high torque mini starter and stuff should be here tomorrow. I don't know if I'll find the energy today. It's just so hot and humid, but see if maybe by myself I can maybe start on the Caltrax bars. I finally got my ball joint press, my cheapo off eBay in, and see if I can push out the bushings out of the front of the leaf springs and do, you know, start doing that. I would like the whole rear end tied up and then start on the front end. So Doug obviously had a birthday as well in here, so he was out, you know, celebrating that, so he was busy with that. So yeah, I really don't want to do anything else major until, you know, he's around so that we can film it actively as we're doing it, so that you guys can see the process. All right, guys, until next time.